got a complicated view about aliens. See, I'm not really sure if you're prepared for this answer. Me, I think that we're the aliens.
I had some experience as a child of being visited.
One of my first memories I have, if not the first memory, is of something looking at me and just observing me that wasn't human.
I was a captive audience at age 4 in Midland, Texas. I see this entity walking away from my little bed, and the thing is real skinny. He's got a bulbous head.
By some kind of a praying mantis-like being.
Something was looking at me and observing me that was not human. And I think it could have been insectoid-like, possibly.
Okay, you there?
You go. Yeah, we had some kind of internet connection issue.
Yeah, that's okay. That's the world we live in.
I think you were getting too deep.
It's called computers. That happens all the time. So anyway, what I was saying is that the sea is enchanting, and so it's like I said. Well, you got songs called the Enchanting Sea, and so Mer is the sea, and it's enchanting, and so you put the two together, it becomes merchant. And so that's why we have merchants, and the chanting is a form of music. That's why you have to buy things with a bank note. And so, let's see. The other point I wanted to bring out is that the bank will levy your account, and one day your ship will come in. Well, everything is in our world is run by ships and by maritime law. So that's why you have a ship on everything. You have a scholarship, sportsmanship, a relationship, a dealership, a friendship, a fellowship, a hardship, apprenticeship, companionship, partnership, a membership, ownership, dictatorship. So what we want to know from you is, since you are on board the citizenship, don't rock the boat, mate.
Right.
Yeah?
So I guess the word ship literally means connection to the sea, or
That's right. That's right. Connection to the sea, and that's what you are. You are a maritime admiralty product. And so, with all of that, then you can begin to understand now banking. Because, like I said, where do you put your liquid asset? You put it in a bank. It's called a river bank. And what does a river bank do? It directs the flow of the current. See,
Yep.
And so another thing that people don't know, and that is the United States died in 1870. The United States of America, the way it was founded in 1776, it actually officially died on the world stage in the 1870s, early 1870, 1869. It was officially declared by the government, by the Supreme Court, to officially be deceased. So we're no longer living in the United States of America. And the reason why? Well, because there was a horrible, bloody civil war.
That's not true. I can't find any statues to back up your claim that we had a civil war.
Yeah, I know that. There was some kind, but there was a terrible war, and violent revolutions were taking place. And so the bottom line is today, we are a lot of things, but we're not united. California is not united with New York.
No.
And Delaware is not united with Alabama. So we're not united. We all have different governments, and every state has its own government, and so we're not united under one government. Every state has its own governmental system, its own governor, its own legislature, etc. So we're not united anymore. So the point I'm making is that you cannot call yourself a United States, because we're not. And so we're just different corporations that work with each other, but we're not united. California, you can do things in California you can't do in Texas. And so we're not united. So therefore, after that great conflagration that happened back in the 1860s, we're not united any longer. So it was decided in the 1870s that the United States of America should be quietly put to rest and buried forever, and it's gone. But the people aren't gone. The people are still here, and they want to eat every day, and they have families, and they want to build a life.
Yeah.
And there's millions and millions and millions of them. So if you don't have a country, well, you better come up with something, because the people are already here. And what are you going to do about all the people that are here? So what they decided to do in 1871 is, instead of having a United States of America, we would form a corporation, a company, a Delaware corporation, and it will be referred to as the United States Corporation, United States Incorporated.
I did not know that. So, I mean, I did know something about incorporating a business in Delaware specifically because they have no income tax.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So they don't pay. I guess the corporation of the United States could pay themselves, but yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. The bottom line that matters is the fact that you are not living in the United States of America. You are living in a corporation like General Electric and Ford Motor Company and Eaton and Sears and what's the airline companies. The point I'm making here is that you're not living in America. You're living in a corporation. It's a company, a privately owned corporation. It's called the United States Corporation. It was incorporated under corporate law in 1871. And it's a privately owned corporation. So what you need to do is find out who owns this corporation called the United States Corporation. Now you're opening your mind to a whole new kind of thinking and you're not in America, land of the free and home of the brave. You're in a company.
Well, since you said that, I have two questions directly about that. Is it possible to find out on the original paperwork who filed as the owner? And two, if humans are products, can our corporation of the United States government sell us as a product to another corporation?
Of course they can. Of course they can. And they do it every day. And if you get your original birth certificate, not a certified copy, but if you can find your original birth certificate, it has to be given back to you because it belongs to you. It represents your body. And if you get your original birth certificate back, you will see that it's written on bank paper. It's written on bank security paper. All that little design around the outside edges is a security paper, like a bank security. And on the back of your birth certificate are all kinds of banks stamping it. It will have tons and tons of bank stamps on the back of your birth certificate, because your birth certificate is a certificate of manifest representing you as a maritime product, and you are worth on the New York Stock Exchange as a product are right around $2 million. Some people are $6 million. And so every man, woman, and child in America is worth somewhere between $2 and $4 to $6 million on the New York Stock Exchange. And so you can go on the stock exchange as a way to do it. And basically, the very fundamentally, there's a way to do it correctly, but I'm just giving you a fundamental quickie understanding.
Yeah.
You can go to one of these companies like Standard & Poor, or one of these companies that keeps track of people's securities and how much they're worth, etc. And you call them and tell them you were cleaning your grandmother's attic and you found a security and you wanted to know if it's still of value. And they will tell me, or they will say, okay, give me the security numbers on it. And so you go through and give them all the security information on the paperwork that you're holding in your hand. Then they will put that into the computer, and they will come back and say, yes, that belongs to Ransom Godwin. This is a security for this man, and they will give you your name. And you say, oh, okay, and how much is that worth? And they'll say, it could be 6 million, 4,500,000, 6.5 million. So therefore, you now know that you have a security on your name on the New York Stock Exchange, which is worth over $6 million. And so how do you find out how much you're worth? Well, there's a way to do it. It's a whole ritual you have to go through. You have to know who to contact first and what codes to use, and then you have to go to this website and put that code in, and then it goes through the Federal Reserve, and then you got to put another code in.
And do they deduct your debt that they claim each person has when it goes through that department?
So the question was again, what?
Oh, I was asking, once it goes through the Federal Reserve at that point, do they deduct out of your worth the debt they say that every human being has at birth?
No, not at all. No. And so there's plenty of information out there that explains all of this. I'm just giving you the Reader's Digest version.
Right.
A little quickie thing. If you want some real information, I'll tell you where to go get it. And you do your own research and reading, and you'll figure it out. But
yeah.
I'm just telling you things that, generally speaking, people are not aware of.
No, I
now, let me go on. Let me go on. So if you are now not living in the United States of America, but you're living in the United States Corporation, first of all, if you come across the border from Mexico or Canada or whatever, you come across the border illegally, unlawfully, that's tantamount to you breaking into General Motors' warehouse. You are going into a privately owned corporation's property, and you are in there illegally and unlawfully.
Yeah.
So therefore, if you are making money and you come into this country or you come into this corporation and you're making money, but you're illegal here, but you're making money, therefore the corporation can put a lien on you. It's called a mechanic's lien. And what that basically means, if you're in construction, if you paint someone's house for them and they decide not to pay you, then you can go down and put a lien on that property, on that house, which means they cannot do anything with that house until they pay you. So if they sell that house, the first money goes to you. Why? Because you put a lien on the house. So therefore, if you come across the border into this corporation and you're working to make money, the corporation could put a mechanic's lien on you. And then you become known as an alien. An alien. No, you're not alien. They put a lien on you.
Right.
And so you are an alien. And so once you start to get the hang of what I'm talking about, the entire life you live is a business.
Yes.
And thank God your life is none of my business, and mine's none of your business, but it's a business. And so the bottom line, at the end of the day, you're not free. You are nothing more than a human resource. something to be bought and sold. We need oil, we need rubber, we need gasoline, we need steel, we need timber, and we need you. So you are a resource, a human resource. And so once you understand how the world really works, you're going to find out that it's a whole different world out there. And I brought up the subject of the courtroom. I said that's where the the maritime admiralty hits you in the face with the law of the land.
Yeah.
Because when you walk into a courtroom, the people sitting in the audience of the courtroom are sitting out here where the audience is. And then there's a gate, a fence. And in the middle of the fence is a gate. And so when the lawyer comes in, he walks up to the gate and he puts his hand on that piece of wood that crosses over the top of the gate. It's a piece of wood that holds the gate together. And so it's called a bar.
Yeah.
But you are not licensed to pass the bar. You don't have a bar license. You're not past the bar. Only the lawyer can pass the bar. So he opens the gate, which is a floodgate. It's a water gate. It's a floodgate.
Yeah, the water gate. Yep.
That's right. And so it's like in the canals, the great canals of the world. When they open up the gate, the water comes rushing in, and it lifts the ship up higher. And then it closes the gate, and then you go a little while, opens up the next gate, and you're in deep water. Yeah, you're in deep water.
So does this all originate from space and being fluid? Like they always refer to space as being a fluid. It's fluid. It's not like empty. It's fluid. So. And then you were talking about everything that flies or goes anywhere or delivers things is a ship or a shipment. And they always call, it's a spaceship. So
that's right. And so the Earth is referred to as a space vessel. It's a vessel in space. We are the ship in space, the Earth.
That's right.
And as the Earth goes through space, we're sailing through the universe, so to speak. And so, therefore, we are a vessel. And this is why you have blood vessels, because the blood, it keeps you alive, keeps the product alive. And so you are a maritime admiralty product, so you have a blood vessel. And the vessel pumps water through your system, and it's red, so we call it blood. So, I mean, we could go on for another 5 hours talking about all of the intricacies of law and courts and
words
and banks and all of that kind of stuff and money and how we are nothing more than slaves. But that's all we are, is slaves. We've been created by someone. Someone created us to be slaves. And so that's why we all act like we do. We all act like we're slaves because we are.
Yeah.
And you don't think so? You do something without asking permission.
No,
and see how fast.
I know for a fact I've been treated like property by our corporation of the United States before.
Yeah.
And actually, you're going in the right direction. That drives my mind is actually who are the people that we are slaves for? Are they still around? And, and when I listen to Zecharia Sitchin's version of, like in his books of Genesis and how we were formed, it makes way more sense to me than any of the other things, because I'm thinking about biological people. They're coming here. They have all the same desires and flaws and things that seem to have been given to us. And then the simple fact that every single primitive people on this earth have always been fascinated with gold, even though to them it would have no value because it's really only a technological value, and they didn't have technology, supposedly.
Yep. And the Egyptians said that gold and silver were the two most important. In the ancient world, even gold and silver were the two most important precious metals. Why? Because the sun is golden and the moon is silver.
Wow.
That's why gold, and we call it the golden sun. The sun is gold and the moon is silver. So we have gold and silver, the sun and the moon. Our money goes back to a Roman goddess named Juno Moneta. Juno Moneta, like Juneau, Alaska.
Yeah.
So Juno Moneta was a goddess in Rome, and she always had her temple up on the hill in Rome. It was called Capitoline Hill, where Caesar officiated over the Roman Senate. And so today we still have, Caesar is up on the hill where he's officiating before the Senate. And so we are the Roman Empire, still the same old rotten,
Yes.
dirty Roman Empire Senate.
And that's why in D.C. they have George Washington looking like Caesar, and he's looking up at the 7 stars there.
Yeah. Yep. So once you begin to wake up, and then you see that, the Mississippi River is considered the Nile, the new Nile in Egypt. And so down the Nile River, you have the different cities that are on the Nile in Egypt. You have Cairo, Egypt, and Memphis, Tennessee.
Which has their pyramid there, too.
Yeah, you get the pyramid there and the Royal Arch and all that stuff. It's all there because the Mississippi is the new Nile. And my God, the old world order was Rome. Rome was the old world order in Europe, and Caesar ruled Europe's old world order. When he wasn't in Rome, he was in Britannia, which we call England today.
Yeah.
It was called Britannia. And in Britannia, the home office for the Roman Empire, Caesar's base of operation in Britannia, was York, England, Y-O-R-K, York, England. And so when Caesar moved into the New World, that's us, the New World, he moved into something called New York. And New York became known as the Empire State.
That's right.
They even have an Empire State Building. And so this is why in Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back and Darth Vader.
Or even Stan Lee, the cartoon guy with Spider-Man and all that. It's all they never say New York. He goes to Empire University. And anytime they refer to the city, they always say the Empire.
That's right. That's exactly right. Why? Because that's where the United Nations is. The UN is in New York.
Yeah, right.
The United Nations was concocted by the Rockefellers, the Warburgs, the J. Paul, the what's his name, Morgan. Guaranteed Chase and Chase Manhattan Bank. So it's all out of New York, the New York families, and so is the mafia and all the other underworld operations out of New York, the Empire State, which New York represents the Catholic Church, or the Roman government, the Roman Empire in America, so Catholic Church.
Here's you a question about 9/11. Okay, so I heard you on the Camelot project, and you were talking about the constant 2 pillars and either the sun or the pyramid coming up between that. And I rewatched that again, and I thought about an association I never thought of before, because recently I made a video kind of insinuating that. But they took down the 2 towers, and in between it, in its place, is a giant, like an obelisk with the pyramidal shaped thing in there. And I'm wondering if that represents the return of whatever it is that they've been waiting on all this time.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's exactly what's happening. And those 2 towers, why 2 towers? If you go on the web to say Google image, go to the image where you only get pictures.
Yeah.
And you put in twin towers, you will see that all over the world, in every country and every plot of land on the face of the earth, churches, insurance buildings, banks, all these major buildings around the earth, they're always double. They're always two towers. All the big churches always have two towers. All the banking have two towers.
Yeah.
You would be surprised at the thousands of pictures that are on Google of twin towers. There are always two. And so there's a reason for twin towers, but most people don't know there is. Nobody even notices anything anymore because it hasn't got anything to do with Paris Hilton or drinking beer.
Yeah.
So nobody knows anything about it. But I've been studying the world of the occult for 60 years. And I can tell you there are thousands of buildings around the world, churches, insurance companies, federal buildings, state buildings, especially cathedrals all around the earth, and they're all double towers, two towers. So there's a reason why the two towers. There's a reason. They don't just build them all over the world for nothing.
Yes, and not only that, they threw the name of the new building in everyone's face. So it's like the occult is no longer being a cult. Now people are just so stupid that they don't see what they're bragging about in their face because it's One World Trade Center now.
Yeah, one world.
Yeah, that's
one world.
That's what made me think that when I was listening to you talking about this person, this entity, maybe it's an Anunnaki. I don't know what it is. I was kind of hoping you would shed some light on that because it insinuates in so many different ways. But it seems like no matter what I study, it always tracks back to Sumeria, and their concepts there of what they were saying of who they were worshiping. And
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we could go on for hours and hours and hours. I could talk to you for the next 8 hours about all kinds of stuff and government and religion and educational
I'm
facilities.
past the religion. I don't know why, but from a young kid, when they told me that there's one God, and then I'm reading the first of it, and it's saying, "Let us make man in our image." I ask questions, and then later on in my life, when I'm an adult, I see these old films of Zachariah Sitchin and you and other people that have been telling, like the whole time I was wondering and ignorant and running around the streets, living that Paris Hilton beer life. I always had something bothering me about everything, the feeling that I didn't know shit about nothing. And then, of course, the more I know, the more I realize I don't know anything.
Yeah, well, one day when you get to be my age, you may not, but if you ever get to be my age at 77, you will look back on your life, and if you have studied every day, 24 hours a day, all of the intricacies of life and government and world you live in, and study it continually and perfect your knowledge and do the research, when you finally reach about 80 years old, it will finally dawn on you that you don't know nothing. Period.
Well,
you don't know shit.
What do you think about this concept in today's new reality? With we live in the idiocracy world.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they're about to do the major reset of information again, like we've seen in the past. The Library of Alexandria, all of that. I'm pretty sure they're about to do it now. I see it coming. I
wouldn't be a bit surprised.
They just turn the internet off, burn the books, tear down the statues. And then we're reset. I mean, they could tell us anything from that point. I mean, like our grandchildren, they can make up whatever story they want to make up.
Of course they can. And they tell the little children, the children don't know any different. So, and the parents don't know any different. So they're not going to get in the way. And then when the little children grow up and the parents are gone, then they will teach their children. And then their children will grow up, and they will teach their children, and before you know it, we will have 7.5 billion people on the earth, collectively with an IQ of 40.
Wow.
So nobody knows nothing, nobody understands nothing, and everybody is pompous and arrogant and knows the truth and got the whole truth, and they know everything there is to know about everything, and then you find out the entire earth is lying in the power of the wicked one, like the Bible says. The entire world is in the hands and the clutches of the darkness. And the whole world is lying in the power of the devil. The
And
entire super race of the world is totally ignorant, ill-informed, unread, and have no idea in the world where we're going, where we've come from, or what we're supposed to do while we're here. Nobody knows. Just go drink your beer, watch TV, and shut up.
well, actually, what my point was though is like in today's world now, we got YouTube and Twitter and all this stuff. You and your videos and your lectures and all of the things that you've done and people like you've done are the new book of the 21st century for morons. I mean, like even for me, like that I was never well read. I really used to hate reading when I was young. Now I can't get enough of it. I'm reading everything. I'm watching everything now, you know, but now in today's world, you are the new resource. You are the new, you're the new book.
Well, I
How do you
appreciate
feel
that.
about that? I mean,
I don't see myself as very important. I never have. I always say I feel better saying that I'm just an ordinary man pursuing extraordinary knowledge. I don't see myself as special or important in any way. I'm just another man like anybody else, and I've just been doing this kind of study and talking, for 60 years. I was talking about the secret societies and the Illuminati and Knights Templars and international banking cartels and the occultism and lies in religion and churches and where the religions came from. I was doing all of that back in 1960 before you and most of the audience was even born.
that's right.
And so
That really trips me out about that too. And main question I kind of wanted to ask you, because you personally did this to me. So I'm wondering who did it to you when you were young, like you're saying, and you started on this journey of research and you first realized that logos and
Yep.
designs and everything, it's like a hidden language all around you telling you stuff. And once you learned that though, you couldn't unsee it now. It's
No, no. There's no way you unlearn anything. You don't see. Now, once you've seen something, somebody shows you a picture of your girlfriend with another guy. There's no way you're going to ever forget that picture.
No,
You
it's
can't. You
seared.
can't unsee it. You saw it, and it's too late. And so once I began to see the hypocrisy and symbols and emblems and words and terms, the way one of the first things that got me started when I was 9 years old, I know that I was led into this work that I do. It wasn't my work. I was given this to do. I was led into it, but I will just tell you this experience that when I was about 9 years old, I was raised in a Catholic family, and when you're Catholic and you're 9 years old, you're heading for what is called confirmation. Confirmation is a particular church service for 9 and 10-year-old children, boys and girls. And it's called confirmation, where you go to church one night and you are confirmed a Catholic, which is ludicrous, confirming a 9-year-old.
Yeah, they don't understand what they're.
I don't even know how to read yet, and I'm being confirmed as a Catholic. But that's the way the Catholic Church works. They get the children when they're young and keep them stupid, and that's it.
Well, my
So
grandma's 84 years old, and all of the stuff I talk about like the Democratic Party or the worship of the sun everywhere, including the book she's tripping on. She thinks I'm a complete lunatic.
Yeah, well, I know, but that's the same thing Jesus said. What they have done to me, they will do to you. If they had listened to me, they would listen to you. And so they want Barabbas. Give us Barabbas. We don't want the truth. We're not interested in hearing the truth. Give us Barabbas. But why? Because he's a criminal. He's a drunk. He's a criminal. He's a whoremongering, drunk criminal. And so
he's entertaining.
And he's like we are. He's like us. He's a big, lying, filthy criminal, and so are we. We're a bunch of imbecilic morons. So we like to have somebody that's like us. We want somebody who's like us because we like him.
Wow.
But
I thought of them like
us.
entertainment. The people of that time picked entertainment over the truth.
Well, it's still they still do today.
Yeah, that's why I thought of it. It's like they would rather see Jesus crucified and let the criminal go that's going to
That's right.
produce more entertainment. So they get double the entertainment of darkness and
That's
just block
exactly
out the
right.
light.
Well, then that shouldn't surprise you that people turn against you. That shouldn't surprise you because that's what,
Oh, she's a sweetheart. She just thinks I'm insane. That's all.
I know, but that's because all her life she's been trained to think a certain way, and it's called cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
The word, if you need to remember it, the word is cognitive dissonance.
Oh yeah,
That
that's the buzzword of today. They've even tried to use that on people that are telling the truth now. They tell them
I
that
know.
they have it.
Yeah, well, what it means is that if you've been born and raised and believe something, and one day when you get to be 70 years old and you find out that what you've been believing all your life wasn't true, it was a lie, you don't listen. You won't listen to it. You'll stick with the idea that you know the truth, and somebody is trying to show you something that's a lie. And so, light is equated with brilliance.
Do you think that's inherent in human beings as being created a slave? That there's a Stockholm syndrome built into our DNA to
Oh,
not want to
heavens,
believe
yes.
that?
Heavens, yes. Heavens, yes. I mean, my Lord, that's the way it's always been. That's the way it is now, and that's the way it will
Yeah,
always
because that's
be.
always bothered me about human beings is we don't. I even had a guest on last night, and he's a straight arrow, down to earth, only believes what kind of the supposedly news stuff, but even he thinks we're aliens because we don't fit into the environment in any way, shape, or form. It's like we have,
Well, I tend to think about that. I tend to think that too. I think we are aliens.
yeah, and we
We
have
don't fit into the environment.
instincts that don't belong on Earth.
That's right. We certainly do. We certainly do have all kinds of reasons to think that we humans are aliens. We're the only ones on the earth that don't fit here. And so all of that is very true. I mean, I was in business for many years. I was in business with Zachariah Sitchin. I financed him to go around the world. I got him on television and radio and helped get his books published and promoted him on the speaking circuit.
Yeah.
So I was in business. I was in business with him. I sat and talked with him for hours and hours and hours. So
Yeah, I just literally just to refresh myself, I watched your personal interview with Zachariah Sitchin again, and he would have been like the another person I would wished I could have talked to in my lifetime, but unfortunately I didn't. I think what woke me up in this world was when my kid was born. I had to start thinking different in order to protect him. And that just led to me finding out one thing after another thing, and then that whole avalanche of knowledge. And then, of course, that occupies my time now. I don't care about money. I don't care about things like that. I know I'm temporary, but I would like to reach a conscious level where I think I might know a little hint of maybe is there what I'm here for, other than to serve someone else's purpose.
yep, I know all about it. Yep, I know all about it. I was your age too. I always tell young people I spoke to universities and colleges all over the country and all over the world. And I always tell young, college age kids and high schoolers that I have an advantage over you because, you are 15 years old. Yeah, so was I. I know. And then when you get to be 20 years old and yeah, I know. I was 20 years old too. So
Yeah,
whatever it is
right.
that you've done, I did it too.
Well,
And
yeah,
whatever
that's
you,
what I'm saying. I feel like you did it to me, though. Like, one day I got on the internet because finally I wasn't so broke. I actually had internet, and I click on, I start watching videos, and then I have an idea. I look for an idea, and then I find this guy Jordan Maxwell is telling me about everything I know. I don't know shit, and the more I listen, the more I realize he's totally correct. I haven't heard none of this stuff before, you know. And then from there, I just kept finding out more people, more stuff, and yeah, that's exactly I think like your most profound statement on earth is that we don't know jack about the way
that's
things
right.
are. And
That's exactly right.
so my main question, I guess, for you is this dark one, is this a biological thing or a spiritual entity or both?
I think that we are living on this earth with biological personages. I think they are persons. I think that there are intelligent individual creatures that we call angels or poltergeists
Yeah.
or
Are you talking about, I mean, like, I want to give it a name. Are we saying Anunnaki? Because that's who I
well,
picture.
the Anunnaki are supposedly actual EBEs. The U.S. government calls them EBEs, extraterrestrial biological entities.
Yeah.
So they're extraterrestrial, but they're biological, and they're not human, they're entities. So their EBEs are extraterrestrial creatures that have come here from somewhere, and they are smart enough to get here, so that means they're smarter than you are, because you didn't go there, they came here.
Yeah.
And when I have people who always ask me when I'm speaking before audiences, they always ask me if there were alien life forms from outer space, if there were here, if they were, why don't they show themselves to us? Why don't they land and come out in the public and show themselves to us so we will know and communicate with us?
They'd lose their power over us, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Well, no, my answer is always the same. My answer to that is, I'm human, like you are.
Yeah.
And I'm ashamed to be in your company and talk to you myself because you're so damn stupid. So I'm ashamed to even be in your company because you're so incredibly ignorant, self-centered, egotistical, ill-informed, unread, and downright pompous and arrogant.
Right.
So I don't want to talk with you myself. Now, why would any creature from a million years in the future, that's been around for a million years, you've only been around for a few years, suppose there are creatures coming here from another world out there in space, and they have been around, their culture has been around for 1 million years. How much more smarter do you think they're going to be than you? And they are smart enough to come here. Well, you're not smart enough to go there.
That's right. But I feel like they gave us something, and I feel like my whole environment, my everything about life today is to prevent human beings to get into that point that they were right before the Tower of Babel, where they actually had the capability of using the genes we were given, like our mental capacity, maybe even life, like our lifespan, because we got the little caps on our DNA to not let us live past 120 years. So is that why they're dumbing us down so much with GMO and vaccines and spraying stuff in the air and electromagnetic, torture, all of it? Yeah. It's just to keep us from hitting a spiritual singularity where we could actually understand these people that made us. Like, I mean, we would no longer be cattle. I heard a whole argument there in the book of Enki between Enlil and Enki about that they had rules not to have slaves, and Enki was telling them, well, this won't be a slave. This will just be a helper. But then, but then later they got mad because, he didn't like the way we were sounding and we were building shims and there's nothing that they couldn't do that we couldn't do now. So yeah, it's like we got mentally retarded and it's happening again.
Yeah, of course. And it even says that in the Bible, in the book of Genesis. It says, after the God says, come, let us, whoever us is, come, let us make man in our image and after our likeness. Well, first of all, later on it says, and God said to himself, look at man. See, he has become as one of us, knowing good and evil. Meaning, you put your DNA into this creature and made him like you. So he looks like you and thinks like you. Well, the problem is he thinks like you, and you're a criminal, and so is he. And he's building rockets and laser equipment and atomic bombs and all kinds of stuff. He's like you. He's like a demon. He's like an angel from another world. This guy is smart. They're putting together DNA and recreating all kinds of creatures and building rockets and going to the moon. See what you did? You should have just left these chumps like the Neanderthal apes that they were. You should have just left them alone, because now you've created a serious problem and you're going to have to deal with them. And you better deal with them now, because they're getting smart.
Yeah.
They're putting nuclear rocket heads onto the rockets. They're coming out here into space, and pretty soon you're going to have to deal with them. And don't think you're going to come with your flying saucers and your UFOs to scare them. They're not scared. They're getting a whole defense system set up with lasers that can shoot you out of the air. You've created a problem.
Yeah.
And
well, at the same time, it feels like that, when I look around at these experiments that the elite are doing, it all adds up to terraforming, but obviously they are not terraforming for the human being.
Oh, no. They're doing something, but it ain't for you. They're just going to eat you. Anyway, I'm going to have to go.
All right, Mr. Maxwell, like I said, this is literally, like, in my opinion, one of my life goals was to be able to talk to you in person. So I really am honored and appreciate you coming on my channel.
Well, I appreciate it, and put it out there, and maybe somebody will learn something from it. And keep in mind that my website is Jordan Maxwell Show, SHOW.
That's right.
Very important.
And I'll make sure to put some graphics on there where they can actually see the website.
Right.
Because I know you got this. What is this? I can't really exactly remember. I remember listening to you talking about somebody pretty much tried to copyright and they stole your stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm not talking about that anymore. All I'm talking about today is my website.
Fine. But now you're jordanmaxwell.com, and that's all anybody needs to know.
Jordan Maxwell Show.
Yes, show. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I knew that, though.
Yeah, there is a jordanmaxwell.com, but that's not me.
Yeah.
So it's jordanmaxwellshow.com.
And that's the one with you with the two lovely ladies there you're posing with.
Yeah, so just go on jordanmaxwellshow.com. You'll see me. You can email me and whatever. And
you got like tons of wonderful shows on there that you've already done, right?
Yep, a lot of stuff on there. You can join my Research Society website too. Join my Research Society website, and that's where I'm putting all of my research material over the years. I'm putting it all up there for everybody to see. All the audios and videos and documents and pictures and white papers and research books and all kinds of stuff.
That's kind of what I meant. You're the 21st century equivalent to a book of knowledge, and it seems like, when I try to Google more information, like to find stuff about you, that I noticed you have a Wikipedia page that's just blank. It just says you're a researcher. Like, don't worry about him. That's nothing.
Yeah, well, the reason why I don't have a Wikipedia is because I contacted them back in 2005. Yeah, 2005, I think it was. I contacted them and told them I do not want a Wikipedia page ever done on me ever.
Yeah, because you can speak for yourself.
If anybody ever does one, I will sue Wikipedia. So do not ever put anything on Wikipedia about me, or I will sue you. So I think they understood, and so they've never put anything on. And the reason why is I don't want anything on Wikipedia. I will sue them if they do. And the reason why is because I'm tired of people putting on all kinds of lies and deception and innuendos and spewing their bitterness and their hatred for me and calling me names with ad hominem attacks on my family and my name and my work and my reputation. I don't want to be, I don't want to be treated like that in the eyes of the public anymore. I'm tired of being treated like a fool.
Well, I don't see you that way. I told you straight up. I view you as one of the founding fathers of our age of thought and truth. Just
Well, I appreciate that, but there's a lot of people out there who abhor my very existence. They want me dead, off the wall. They want me dead, out of the world, off the planet, and shut up. They're tired of hearing me exposing them.
I think you're the literal cat that got out of the bag, and I don't think they can get you back in it now. Even long after you're gone, I have a feeling you'll be a permanent presence in humanity.
Well, I would kind of hope so. That's what I wanted to do all my life for 60 years, is just be a beacon of light in a dark world. So when people don't know what's going on, just come to my website and listen to me, and I'll tell you where it's all comes from and where it's all going. And so that's what I do. I do it to help my fellow man. But in the process, I get a lot of hate mail, a lot of ad hominem attacks on my family, on me, on my name, on my reputation, on my work, calling me everything they can, attributing to me that I'm a government agent or CIA or I'm a Nazi or something. And yet, if I were a CIA agent, at least I could pay my rent. For 14 years, I lived in a dirty little one-room office, sleeping on an airbag, with nothing, broke. So I figure if I was working for the government, at least I'd have an apartment.
Right.
So all of this nonsense you're hearing about me and bad-mouthing me and calling me names is because there's a lot of people that do not like what I'm doing. I am blowing the whistle in their religion, on their churches, their synagogues, their government.
You're the ultimate red pill.
Yep, you got that right. And so a lot of people are not happy with me. Me, I don't care. I'm 76 years old. I don't care if they're not happy with me. Where I'm going, I don't care if they're happy. I just want to be able, when I do leave this world, if there's somebody I meet on the other side, at least I can say I did the best I could. I was broken, didn't have anything, but I did the best I could to help my fellow man while I was on earth to wake up and to take back their freedom and take back their lives and take back their sovereignty as a people. And start crawling on your knees and kissing the ass of the emperor. And I'm tired of
Especially
this whole
since he's
concept.
not wearing clothes. I really don't want to kiss it.
Yeah, exactly. So,
well, I really did appreciate you coming on. Like I said, it's a big honor, and maybe one day you'll come back and tell me who you were whispering to in the sky, and are they still flying around?
Yep. We can talk later, but thank you again for having me on.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.